everyone. How are you doing? This is Daryl Guberman, CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. We have just most recently come back from the Senate subcommittee meeting that was Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee down on April 17th, 2024. We were there in support of Sam Salipar, who has made a lot of allegations concerning the 777, 787, and we've got the documentation from the quality side of the business, the outside quality side, which sees more about what goes on in the function of Boeing than does the quality people inside the facility itself. So yes, we stood there showing the subcommittee our documentation. This isn't even half of the issue, the information that we've gotten and we've tallied up for many, many years. We have 40 plus years in quality, aerospace, medical implants, materials, printing, and plastic distribution, where we dealt in every industry. We have a very special guest. We have Mr. Hung Chow. He's the hopeful Senate Republican for Virginia. And this video today is about VA Senate, Virginia Senate hopeful Hung Chow visits rubber manufacturing plant where Biden abandoned liability. ANSI-ANAB has that liability, Mr. Chow, and I'm going to show you how, why, and when. And we're going to put you down. A part in this document, it said, so this is the issue with Chinese-made products, that there's no quality control, and who do you sue if something goes wrong, right? He said. That was from Chow. Mr. Chow, let me tell you something. I will show you who you sue. You go after ANSI-ANAB because they are equivalent to any the Chinese certifications over there from the China National Accreditation Services. Sit down over here. Thank you for coming. And here we go. A big term that's used in your neck of the woods for politicians and quality and Boeing and Lockheed and others is obfuscation. You can take a peek at that. ANSI, the American National Standards Institute, is a private, not-for-profit, non-governmental corporation, been around over 100 years, has federal agencies and corporations on board. In 2015, then Randy Doherty, the vice president of ANAB, the chairman of the IAF, and also the principal in the IAF tax form. The IAF is the International Accreditation Forum, incorporated in Delaware. And their sister organization, ILAC, the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation in Australia. Their sister organizations. He handed over leadership to this communist Chinese national, Zhao Jinwu, who's been involved with our quality since 1994. He at the time was also the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services, which certified the laboratory that released the virus of COVID in Wuhan, China, no less. He is mandated by his country of origin. I'm sure you know this, Mr. Chow, dealing in our government, that he is mandated by his government to take our data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. ANSI took over complete control over ANAB in 2018. You have federal agencies and corporations. Only a little bit, Mr. Chow, of that. Here's a bigger picture of Randy handing over. He's, as I said, he's also on the 990 tax report. You have ANAB, the accreditation body that sits on ANSI and vice versa. You have 10 different registrars in China that could issue an ANSI-ANAB certification. You have the factor that you have ANSI that took over complete control over ANAB in 2018. And at the time, between 2015 and 21, with all those federal agencies and corporations on board, they were just giving our data away to communist China because, as I told you, Zhao Jinwu is mandated to take your data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. So here you go in point. Sitting on there, an equivalent to accreditation is Iran and Pakistan. Iran most recently got their IAF, they got rid of their IAF membership and they went to APAC. We'll show you that very shortly. But you do have Pakistan, nevertheless, the ones who harbored Osama bin Laden. Isn't that a tender moment? You have APAC. APAC is the Asian Pacific Accreditation Cooperation. You can take a look at the highlighted countries, and you know President Biden had sanctions on these countries of Russia, China, and Iran, and it doesn't work. The IAF, as I said, is a sister organization to ILAC, again, the International Accreditation Forum and International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation. We fondly call it Always Fails. And is laboratory accreditation credible? We'll show you it's not. ANSI is actually the founder of the IAF, as you can see. And you can slow the video down if you like. I'm just trying to go through this in a meaningful way. You have a government contract. This is the government contract. And on it, it states right here that ANAB is an underwriter for the International Accreditation Forum. Now you're asking about who do we sue. You always go after ANSI-ANAB because right over here it states an IF, which is MLA, an International Accreditation Forum multilateral agreement signatory as equivalent. So a company with an ISO 9001 certification that is accredited by the China National Accreditation Services, the IF-MLA signatory in China is equivalent in an ISO 9001 certificate accredited by ANAB. So they're equal. Here he is standing in Wuhan, China. Now, I'm going to say this. You're going to find out that at the time when he stood there in 2017, he was also the chairman of the IF and, of course, chief executive of China National Accreditation Services in Beijing, China. He handed over a certificate for laboratory accreditation to the BioLevel 4 lab, which he shouldn't because there were no scientists that were prepared, well, actually technicians that were prepared. And the scientists were complaining in 2018 when a contingency of the United States came there. You're going to find that article down below from Politico. And they complained about not having adequately trained technicians because technicians are the first line of defense. And he just gave a certificate to a laboratory. Can you just imagine that? Here is the actual document that came out of and that picture. And we will show you shortly. There it is, sir. There you go. On top of it, the back page of this shows you this, that it was the second annual visit workshop in China. That the United States and China did. And the first line of business, if you look, it's a gain of function. And if you remember correctly, Dr. Fauci from NIH said, and NIH sits on ANSI, by the way, he said that he didn't know anything about gain of function. Another thing is this, you have the actual, we have the actual document here for training from May 2019 from the CDC. And it states this, okay? It states that the safety and function of a BioLevel 4 laboratory rely not only on containment facility and biosafety management systems, but on highly experienced staff. So when Zhao Jinwu was over there in the laboratory, he handed a certificate to a substandard laboratory. And to make matters worse, we have Miss Pamela Sale here. Pamela, let me bring you out here. We have Miss Pamela Sale, who stated under deposition in 2017 while Zhao Jinwu was over in China, giving that Wuhan laboratory the certification. One of the issues is that there is no commonly agreed upon set of standards that forensic labs around the country have to follow. Instead, there are informal guidelines that labs can choose to follow or not, meaning that it's out of control. She gave it. In fact, here goes a good one. Most of the laboratory failures happen in accredited labs. If you need any of this information for your data, we have plenty of it, laboratory failures. Another item of contention here is you have the Department of Justice on board. You also have the FBI, where you have Christopher Wray, who states on many depositions to the Senate and Congress that we must maintain vigilance over communist China. Yet between 2015 and 21, his agency sat on ANSI, and they still sit there. You also have the Department of Defense. Department of Defense, yes, the Department of Defense is on there as well, who signed a waiver in 2013-14 to 2012, 2013, so that China could build specialized magnets. Here we go. I gave it to you all. If you want to sue somebody, it's ANSI-ANAB, and we can be your expert witness. 203-556-1493 or Daryl, TQRS @yahoo.com. I thank you, and thank you for coming today, Mr. Chow.